Hello, mind readers. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Readers Aside. Oh dear God, I'm tired. Today I will be I'm reading a novel called Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you hadn't. I don't really care. I believe it was made into a movie in the 90s, and I think I saw the movie, but I'm beginning to second guess that because the movie I remember, I swear different shit was happening. Like there was like lizard people and shit like that, and I'm not getting any of that so far, and I'm like 44 pages into the book, and it's only about a 210-page book, so you would think the lizard people in there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that was a Cronenberg movie, and Peter Weller's RoboCop played the fucking main character. But like from what I've read so far, it doesn't seem anything like that movie. But then again, I saw that movie like 15 years ago maybe, and I don't remember understanding it very well when I saw it. So maybe the Lizard People was a different movie, and I don't know. Not sure. Doesn't really matter anyways. Like who cares? Oh God. Okay. So yeah, so I'm about 44 pages in the book. I've been reading it for a couple days here. It's a very fucked up novel. This is a fucked up piece of writing here. So essentially, there's like doesn't really seem to be any chapters. It's just kind of like one long, like narration. There are breaks in the text. There are breaks in the narration, and some of them do have like headings or like titles, I guess. So far, nothing's really happened that I can ascertain, other than like the narrator, who is also the main character in the book. You understand, right? That's the type of book it is. Like books can be written different ways. I'm sure you know this. This is one of those books where like the narrator is in the first person telling you the story. He's basically living the story, I guess. And up until this point, we're just being kind of introduced to a whole cast of extremely bizarre and bizarre characters. They're all dope heads of some sort. Like this book's all about doing dope. It's all about doing heroin and morphine and dope and being a junkie. To use the language of the book. I don't think people really like being called junkies anymore. This guy uses that word pretty liberally. I don't think it was a big deal in the 50s. I think that's what they called themselves. Maybe they called the shit junk. He calls it junk all the time. No one calls it junk anymore. He wants to be called a junkie. Like really. But anyways, yeah. So basically, it's about. It's hard. This is a hard. I'm not even going to try to explain it. I'm going to just read on from where I left off. This section did have a bit of a title, sort of. Joselito, which I thought was going to be a woman's name. I'm beginning to suspect. I think that's a man, though. And and I'm just going to start reading. Actually, hold on a second. I need to freshen up here for a moment. This will only take a moment. Just going to set you over there. Alright. La da da dee da. La da 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 da. That was the tune from Piggies. by the Beatles, in case you were wondering. You were probably wondering, I bet. Da 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 da. All right. Oh God. Oh Moses. Oh Moses. Oh. 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 And verily I say, Moses did split the sea, and they walked across that shit. Because they had nowhere else to go. That's where they needed to go. What am I talking about here? Okay. Getting that shit up there. Alright. Oh yeah. Alright. Okay. So here we go. Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs. It's right fucked. And I'm right fucked. And here we go. Alright. You know what? I'm going to hold you right close here. I like doing that. I like holding it to my chest. Carl saw Joselito in a big clean room full of light and with private bath and concrete balcony. And nothing to talk about there in the empty cold room. Water hyacinths growing in a yellow bowl and the china blue sky in drifting clouds. Fear flickering in and out of his eyes. When he smiled, the fear flew away in little pieces of light, lurked enigmatically in the high, cool corners of the room. And what could I say, feeling death around me, and the little broken images that come before sleep, there in the mind? They will send me to the new sanitarium tomorrow. Come and visit me. I will be there alone. He coughed and took a codeine. Codeine? Reader's aside, I think that might be some type of a pill with codeine in it. I don't know. Just for the audiences, in case you're wondering, this book was, I should have mentioned this before. I usually do this. This book was published in 1959, so there's some context. Like that's, I believe it's set in that time when it was written there. So yeah, and a codeine is maybe something with codeine in it. I don't fucking know. That would make sense. All right, and reads aside. Doctor, I understand that is I have been given to understand. I have read and heard, not a medical man myself, don't pretend to be, that the concept of sanitarium treatment has been more or less supplanted, or at least definitely supplanted, by chemical therapy. Is this accurate in your opinion? What I mean to say is, Doctor, please tell me in all sincerity, as one human being to another, what is your opinion of chemical versus sanitarium therapy? Are you a partisan? The doctor's liver-sick Indian face was blank as a dealer's. Completely modern, as you can see, he gestures towards the room with the purple fingers of bad circulation. Bath, water, flowers, the lot. He finished in a Cockney English with a triumphant smirk. I will write for you a letter. This letter? For the sanitarium. The doctor was speaking from a land of black rocks and great iridescent brown lagoons. The furniture, modern and comfortable. You find it so, of course. You find it so, of course? Fuck. Reader said, this book's so fucked. Allow me to just read that last paragraph again. And reads aside. The doctor was speaking from a land of black rocks and great iridescent brown lagoons. The furniture? Modern and comfortable. You find it so, of course? Reader's aside. That's a question at the end. And the word find is italicized. You find it so, of course? So I think a land of black rocks and great iridescent brown lagoons is just indicating that he's right fucked, because this guy's a dopehead too, the doctor. I assume that, like, it's hard to understand what most of what is being said here. It's just like in the introduction, Mr. Burroughs did mention that he doesn't actually remember writing most of the book, because he was just obviously right fucked, and I 100% believe him. Gross. Oh, she drips. Alright, so, and that, here we've come to another one of these, as I said, breaks in the narrative. They come every 1 to 4 pages, really. There's quite a lot of them, but there's no, like, actual chapters. They're just, every now and then, there appears to be, like the introduction of some people, and they'll say, like, the person's name, like I said, Joselito. Like, who the fuck is even it's hard to kind of parse out the scenes here, like who's Carl? Like, I thought this guy's name was fucking, I'm not even sure what the fucking narrator's name is. Like, is he Carl? Like, I don't remember that name before. I have no problem with the meeting. I'm right fucking confused so far into this book. I'm cool. Like, I can handle that. I've read shit like this before where I mainly didn't understand. Like, you've probably heard me reading shit before I didn't understand. I can just keep reading. I don't really give a fuck. So there's a doctor. Like, this is an entirely new scene, mind you, too. Like, everything I've read up until, like, page 41, it really had nothing to do with what I'm reading right now. It's hard to kind of decipher, like, how does this relate to what I've been reading, other than these guys fucking do heroin too. Like, so I think Joselito has maybe cancer or something, and something with Joselito's lungs, and Carl is Let me go back a page here. Is Carl Joselito's friend? Like, I just read this. No, well, Carl can't be the narrator because he's been saying I. Has he said I for the past couple? You know what? He hasn't really. Weird. So this is different. Up until page 42, there was a definite, like, first person narration to this book, where it was like I this and I that, and now we get to this Joselito section, and the I appears to be gone. It's just a sort of one of those faceless, nameless narrators that some books, some books it's just like the author's just telling you the story, right? It's that appears to be what we've jumped into now. So it's a wholly different paradigm. I'm confused as fuck. Like, I'm even more confused than I was fucking earlier. I'm at my height of confusion now, page 45. Alright, fuck it. And readers aside. Carl could not see the sanitarium owing to a false front of green stucco, topped by an intricate neon sign, dead and sinister against the sky, waiting for darkness. The sanitarium was evidently built on a great limestone promontory, over which flowering trees and vine tendrils broke in waves. The smell of flowers was heavy in the air. The commandant sat on a long wooden trestle under a vine trellis. He was doing absolutely nothing. He took the letter that Carl handed him and whispered through it, reading his lips with the left hand. He stuck the letter on a spike over a toilet. He began transcribing from a ledger full of numbers. He wrote on and on. Readers aside, like, what in the fuck? And readers aside. Broken images exploded softly in Carl's head, and he was moving out of himself in a silent swoop. Clear and sharp from a great distance, he saw himself sitting in a lunchroom, overdose of H. His old lady shaking him and holding hot coffee under his nose. Outside, an old junkie in Santa Claus suit selling Christmas seals. "Fight tuberculosis, folks," he whispers in his disembodied junkie voice. Salvation Army choir of sincere homosexual football coaches sings. In the sweet by and by. Carl drifted back into his body. An earthbound junk ghost. I could bribe him, of course. The Commandant taps the table with one finger and hums, "Coming through the rye." Far away, then urgently near like a foghorn a split second before the grinding crash, Carl pulled a note half out of his trouser pocket. The Commandant was standing by a vast panel of lockers and deposit boxes. He looked at Carl, sick animal eyes drawn out, dying inside, hopeless fear reflecting the face of death. In the smell of flowers, a note half out of his pocket. The weakness hit Carl, shutting off his breath, stopping his blood. He was in a great cone, spinning down to a black point. Chemical therapy? The scream shot out of his flesh through empty locker rooms in barracks, musty resort hotels, and spectral coffin corridors of TB sanitariums. The muttering, hawking, grey dishwasher smell of flop houses and old men's homes, great dusty custom sheds and warehouses, through broken porticos and smeared arabesques, iron urinals worn paper thin by the urine of a million fairies. Deserted weed-grown privies with a musty smell of shit turning back to the soil, erect wooden phallus on the grave of dying peoples, plaintive as leaves in the wind. Across the great brown river where whole trees float with green snakes in the branches and sad-eyed lemurs watch the shore out over a vast plain. Vulture wings husk in the dry air. The way is strewn with broken condoms and empty H-caps and KY tubes squeezed as dry as bone meal in the summer sun. My furniture! The Commandant's face burned like metal in the flashbulb of urgency. His eyes went out. A whiff of ozone drifted through the room. The Novia muttered over her candles and altars in one corner. It's all track. Modern, excellent. He is nodding idiotically and drooling. A yellow cat pulls at Carl's pant leg and runs onto a concrete balcony. Clouds drift by. I could get back my deposit. Start me a little business someplace. He nods and smiles like a mechanical toy. Joselito! Boys look up from street ball games, bull rings, and bicycle races as the name whistles by and slowly fades away. Joselito! Paco! Pepe! Enrique! The plaintive boy cries drift in on the warm night. The track sign stirs like a nocturnal beast and bursts into blue flame. Readers aside. What in the fuck just happened? Like what did I just experience? Like what did I just read? What's going on? Who is Joselito? I have no idea. And now I've come to a new section, like a new I'm just gonna call it a new chapter, and it's got a title called The Black Meat. So the introduction to Joselito or whatever, like maybe I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't even know what Joselito is or who is. Let me go back a couple pages. I just assumed at the beginning. Yeah, what happened to Joselito's brown chest? Where's Joselito? I thought they were sending Joselito to the sanitarium, but then it's just Carl after that. Is Carl also Joselito? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Is he Carl Joselito or like what the fuck? Weird. Maybe, I don't know. But then at one point here he asked, sorry, I'm going back to before I started recording here, but Carl asks, is there some place he can be treated? He's asking about Joselito, right? But then he's the one that goes to the Senate. Now, this is fucked up book here. Right fucked. Jesus Christ. Should I keep going here? Kind of wanted to make this a bit of a shorter one, but fuck it. End readers aside. The Black Meat. Oh shit. Oh, juicy. Oh. Readers aside, pardon me. Alright, end readers aside. The Black Meat. We friends, yes. The shoe shine boy put on his hustling smile and looked up into the sailor's dead, cold, undersea eyes without a trace of warmth or lust or hate or any feeling the boy had ever experienced in himself or seen in another, at once cold and intense, impersonal and predatory. The sailor leaned forward and put a finger on the boy's inner arm at the elbow. He spoke in his dead, junky whisper. With veins like that, kid, I'd have myself a time. He laughed, black insect laughter that seemed to serve some obscure function of orientation, like a bat's squeak. Fucked. That's fucked. The sailor laughed 3 times. He stopped laughing and hung there motionless, listening down into himself. He had picked up... where am I at? He had picked up the silent frequency of junk. His face smoothed out like yellow wax over the high cheekbones. He waited half a cigarette. The sailor knew how to wait, but his eyes burned in a hideous dry hunger. He turned his face of controlled... Fuck. Pardon me, I'm decided. I'm just massively chuffed here, actually. I might as well just be honest here, I'm just massively chuffed, and this book is massively chuffed. So, I think I'm actually doing pretty well here, so, just bear with me. And readers aside. The sailor knew how to wait, but his eyes burned in a hideous dry hunger. He turned his face of controlled emergency in a slow half pivot to case the man who had just come in. Fats Terminal sat there sweeping the cafe with blank periscope eyes. When his eyes passed the sailor, he nodded minutely. Only the peeled nerves of junk sickness would have registered a movement. The sailor handed the boy a coin. He drifted over to Fats's table with his floating walk and sat down. They sat a long time in silence. The cafe was built into one side of a stone ramp at the bottom of a high white canyon of masonry. Faces of the city poured through silent as fish, stained with vile addictions and insect lusts. Readers aside, hold on a second. It was insects in the movie. It was insects. People turned into like insects and shit. Oh my god, I think it's happening. I think this is the right book. That must be what's... Yeah, that's what the fuck... People like slowly turned into like... Oh, that movie was fucked. They weren't lizards, they were insects. Oh, this book's gonna be fucked. I can just tell right now. It's just gonna get more and more fucked. Alright. Let's move on. End readers aside. Faces of the city poured through silent as fish, stained with vile addictions and insect lusts. The lighted cafe with the diving bell. Readers aside. I may have read too much into insect lusts, but it did also remind me that they turned into insects in the movie. Well, I guess I'm going to find out. You probably won't, but I will. Alright, end readers aside. The lighted cafe was a diving bell, cable broken, settling into black depths. The sailor was polishing his nails on the lapels of his Glen plaid suit. He whistled a little tune through his shiny yellow teeth. When he moved and a fluvia of mold drifted out of his clothes, a musty smell of deserted locker rooms, he studied his nails with phosphorescent intensity. Good thing here, Fats. I can deliver 20. Need an advance, of course. On spec? So I don't have the 20 eggs in my pocket. I tell you, it's jellied consommé. One little whoops and a push. The sailor looked at his nails as if he was studying a chart. You know I always deliver. Make it 30, and a 10-tube advance. This time tomorrow. Need a tube now, Fats. Take a walk, you'll get one. The sailor drifted down into the plaza. A street boy was shoving a newspaper in the sailor's face to cover his hand on the sailor's pen. The sailor walked on. He pulled the pen out and broke it like a nut in his thick, fibrous pink fingers. He pulled out a lead tube. He cut one end of the tube with a little curved knife. A black mist poured out and hung in the air like boiling fur. The sailor's face dissolved. His mouth undulated forward on a long tube and sucked in the black fuzz. Vibrating in supersonic peristalsis, disappeared in a silent pink explosion. His face came back into focus, unbearably sharp and clear, burning yellow brand of junk searing the gray haunch of a million screaming junkies. This will last a month, he decided, consulting an invisible mirror. All streets of the city sloped down between deepening canyons into a vast kidney-shaped plaza full of darkness. Walls of street and plaza are perforated by dwelling cubicles and cafes, some a few feet deep, others extending out of sight in a network of rooms and corridors. At all levels, crisscross of bridges, catwalks, cable cars, catatonic youths dressed as women in gowns of burlap and rotten rags, faces heavily and crudely painted in bright colors over a strata of beatings, arabesques of broken, suppurating scars, scars to the pearly bone, suppurating scars to the pearly bone, push against the passers-by in silent clinging insistence. Traffickers in the black meat, flesh of the giant aquatic black centipede. Readers aside, yep, centipede. We're getting more clues here. And readers aside, I'm brilliant. And readers aside, sometimes attaining a length of 6 feet. What? Found in a lane of black rocks and iridescent brown lagoons, exhibit paralyzed crustaceans in camouflage pockets of the plaza visible only to the meat-eaters. Followers of obsolete, unthinkable trades, doodling in Etruscan addicts of drugs not yet synthesized, black marketeers of World War III, excisors of telepathic sensitivity, osteopaths of the spirit, investigators of infractions denounced by bland, paranoid chess players, service of fragmentary warrants taken down in Heberfrenic shorthand, charging unspeakable mutilations of the spirit, officials of unconstituted police states, brokers of exquisite dreams and nostalgias, tested on the sensitized cells of junk sickness and bartered for raw materials of the will, drinkers of the heavy fluid, sealed in translucent amber of dreams. The meat cafe occupies one side of the plaza, a maze of kitchens, restaurants, sleeping cubicles, perilous iron balconies, and basements opening into the underground baths. On stools covered in white satin sit naked mugwumps, sucking translucent colored syrups through alabaster straws. Mugwumps have no liver and nourish themselves exclusively on sweets, thin, purple-blue lips cover a razor-sharp beak of black bone, with which they frequently tear each other to shreds in fights over clients. These creatures secrete. We decide, like, this is getting right fucked. This is getting right fucked. Like, what is he talking about? Holy shit. Readers aside, these creatures secrete an addicting fluid from their erect penises. I swear I didn't know that was coming. From their erect penises, which prolong life by slowing metabolism. In fact, all longevity agents have proved addicting in exact ratio to their effectiveness in prolonging life. Addicts of mugwump fluid are known as reptiles. Yeah. So there's reptiles too, yeah. Sorry, that was the Reader's Aside. And Reader's Aside. A number of these flow over chairs with their flexible bones and black-pink flesh. A fan of green cartilage covered with hollow erectile hairs through which the reptiles absorb the fluid sprouts from behind each ear. The fans, which move from time to time, touched by invisible currents, serve also some form of communication known only to reptiles. During the biennial, damn it, fuck, why can't I pronounce that? Biennial. During the biennial panics, when the raw-peeled dream police storm the city, the mugwumps take refuge in the deepest crevices of the wall, sealing themselves in clay cubicles, and remain for weeks in biostasis. In those days of grey terror, the reptiles dart about faster and faster, scream past each other at supersonic speed, their flexible skulls flapping in black winds of insect agony. The dream police disintegrate in globs of rotten ectoplasm swept away by an old junkie, coughing and spitting in the sick morning. The mugwump man comes with alabaster jars of fluid, and the reptiles get smoothed out. The air is once again still and clear as glycerin. The sailor spotted his reptile. He drifted over and ordered a green syrup. The reptile had a little round disc mouth of brown gristle, expressionless green eyes, almost covered by a thin membrane of eyelid. The sailor waited an hour before the creature picked up his presents. "Any eggs for Fats?" he asked, his words stirring through the reptile's fan hairs. It took 2 hours for the reptile to raise 3 pink transparent fingers covered with black fuzz. Several meat-eaters lay in vomit, too weak to move. The black meat is like a tainted cheese, overpoweringly delicious and nauseating, so that the eaters eat and vomit and eat again until they fall exhausted. A painted youth slithered by and seized one of the great black claws, sending the sweet, sick smell curling through the cafe. Readers aside. Okay. So that just ended this little section here that was titled The Black Meat, and good lord, that was the most fucked up fucking part yet. Like, what is happening? It's just becoming more and more incomprehensible, almost like, what is going on here? This is fucked. Somewhat ironically, I think I've actually managed to, like, read the most amount that I've actually read during one of these fucking episodes here. I think it's because I really have no idea what's happening. It's hard to kind of make comments here. Whereas before I would, feel like I knew what I was talking about, then I go on these long tangents and just kind of ramble on and shit, and I haven't really been able to do that because I'm just flabbergasted by what the fuck I'm reading here. You know what? I think that's a good place to stop here, being flabbergasted, and I still got some shit to do here. So I'll be signing off now here from the Cliff Goes Live studio, and yeah, god damn it. Oh yeah, and so I hope you enjoyed our time together, and please oh fuck, what is it, damn it? I fuck this up every time. Stop fucking around or mind your own business, I think. Yes. God, this happens every time, doesn't it? Fuck's sakes. Whatever. Done.
even went to the moon. And there was a time in this country, a long time ago, when reading wasn't just for fags.